blustery spring. Oklahoma Sooners celebrate.
Brought to her attention that, you know, your numbers look good where we're at for this season compared to last season, and it is a shocker. I think it's exciting.
In the circle tonight will be Isabella Smith, the redshirt senior from Raleigh, North Carolina. A double transfer, began her collegiate career at James Madison. Oklahoma fans very familiar with James Madison from their matchups in the Women's College World Series, and then spent 2022 through last season at Campbell. She's been a pitcher of the year in both the Big South and the Colonial. Had a redshirt year in 2021. 77 career wins is the most amongst active pitchers in Division I. And she faces Emma Rodriguez, the center fielder. Wind, let's not even talk about it.
Crazy.
I mean, there was question, I don't think necessarily amongst Coach Gasso and staff members about this game. Been getting text messages, are they still playing?
Yeah.
Everybody wondering, and it is expected to die down as the sun starts to begin to set. As this one is whacked foul and out of play by Rodriguez, but sustained winds at about 25 to 30, some gusts up to 45 miles per hour, and it's blowing in from right field.
Yeah, it'll definitely play a big factor in tonight's game. I think if any ball gets caught up in the air, it's going to sail.
Lineup: Rodriguez, Kaysen, Anger, Stephanie Tapia in the cleanup spot, as this one is sliced foul up onto the concourse by Emma Rodriguez. Got pretty heavy cloud cover. No threat of rain, just the wind. You know, it said the high temperature was 70 degrees. I've been awake since 7 a.m. It hasn't been above 44.
It has not quite made it there.
Yeah, and I'm told that was at midnight. It all new. Hannah Core out there in center. Garcia, Ailana Agbayani playing second base, and Corey Hicks back there behind the plate tonight. Seen Isabella Emmerling behind the dish a lot. She's also brand new. Charlie Anger takes a first pitch strike.
Yeah, and I think it's so important for everybody to get an opportunity. I think these are the moments where you can really stand out and let Coach Gasso know, I deserve a spot. Keep giving me opportunities. This is a good opportunity for them to capitalize.
In the air, the wind's going to push this one toward the screen and over the screen. Sydney Barker over to have a look. A couple of regulars getting a break tonight, as Ella Parker is not in the regular Oklahoma lineup, and Sydney Sanders also getting the evening off. As you look at Sydney Barker there. And Anger fouls this one back. Charlie Anger, 5 home runs. That's the most in a season for a Lion since they went Division I. Now, 3 years ago, already the most home runs in a season. One and two the count on Anger. Brittany Miller said Anger's one who has an expressive personality. You'll see it out in the field. This one fouled off once again.
I think one thing in talking to them, this approach that you have to have when you're facing a team like Oklahoma is you've got to attack, and they've got to be patient in the box.
Tires the Lions 1, 2, 3. We'll give you the Oklahoma batting lineup when we return to Love's Field on SEC Network Plus. California making her first start of the year. See a tough walks to strikeouts ratio there, and her first pitch is driven down the left field line by Abigail Dayton, and it hits off the fence post down there that holds up part of the fencing. The net down the left field line. Abigail Dayton, a spark plug at the top of the lineup. Homered in her first Oklahoma at bat against CSUN after transferring in from Utah, where she spent 2 years. She's been in 3 different conferences in the last 2 years. Just think about that journey. She was the Pac-12 batting champion. She's been in the Big 12 and now the SEC. But .431 hitter when she won the Pac-12 batting title. Leading things off, Nellie McEnroe-Marinas in the 2 spot, then Cassidy Pickering in the lineup. Sooners have used several different leadoff hitters, and Patty Gasso said just kind of about feel, matchups, and you can relate to that, but you were a steady leadoff hitter in your career. They didn't go many games without writing you at the top of the card.
Yeah, but I think it is a big deal for Coach Gasso. The way that she adjusts the lineup, it truly makes the most sense depending on your matchup and when you need those leadoff runners on, or is it something where, you know, Ella Parker is somebody that they've
be a challenge. What's critical when you've got such a wind like this out there in the outfield, Destiny?
Just got to track it. You cannot afford to take your eye off of it. I think understanding the speed of the winds. I used to go out there and throw some grass in the air and see how fast it would kind of move through the wind.
Nellie McEnroe-Marinas in there for the Sooners, playing down at third base. What a start she is off to. And Patty Gasso said the start is not a surprise to her as she slashes this one just foul down the right field line. But she redshirted last year, and Coach Gasso said she was salivating for the chance to get in there, and it has shown.
Yeah, she has been so fun to watch, and she's named team captain just as a freshman. She did have one season with the program, so it helped her kind of get seasoned and understand the expectations of what it takes to be a leader here. But I think just getting to see her and her leadership skills and her dominance at third base has been so fun this season.
Seven home runs, 28 runs driven in. And she's got 4 home runs in 6 SEC games so far. Batting .522 in league play. She's got a piece of that one. So 2-2 the count. That South Carolina series, she had a pair of 3-run home.
She has definitely been a spark in this lineup. She's been so fun to watch, and I think just as a freshman, it's just exciting to know that there's so much more to develop from her.
A tailing fly ball. And once again, that hits the screen down the left field line. And Patty Gasso said, you know, Gabby Garcia was obviously very highly touted, highly recruited, and expectations, her mom, Kara, being a Hall of Famer at Arizona State, and she was a bit nervous about what kind of a start she was going to get off to. Nervous thing, Sooners.
It's a really good piece of hitting. Just seeing the top half of that ball, sending it right through the middle of the field. I love how she was fouling stuff off, trying to find the right timing, and then she's able to execute.
There's the Hall of Famer and 8-time national champion head coach Patty Gasso. Just so excited about this team, and it was not necessarily easy over in Arkansas, of course, coaching against her son DJ Gasso. But they turned it into a family affair as dad and husband Jim able to make it over there after his team played here in the Oklahoma City area, his Mid-American Christian team. But they got to all get together at the end of that series and spend some family time. It is a softball family, and I think that's what Coach Gasso said the coolest part was, all just having successful lives in this sport that they love so much, Destiny.
Yeah, it has been fun as a family and get to do this together.
Sydney Barker takes this one just off the plate outside. 12th start of the year for Barker. And she is batting at a robust .357 clip so far. Base hits by Garcia and Barker. A little meeting at the mound as the catcher Wilcox goes out, and all of the infielders visit with Emma Olson as well. 4 straight hits for the Sooners to take a 2-0 lead. Here is Ailana Agbayani in from the left side of the plate. And that'll bring in Corey Hicks, who's doing the catching tonight. Sooners have used Isabella Emmerling a good deal behind the plate, but as we said, One of the younger players, new faces getting a look. 9 freshmen and 14 total newcomers for Patty Gasso and the Sooners this year. And most seem unfazed by the stage. Just over the outside half of the plate from Emma Olsen, trying to steady things here. It looked like she slid around it.
Yeah, I really like the dive on the outside part of that bag.
Ball just kind of popped out of Wilcox's glove. They're going to give stolen bases to Barker and Malloy. Full count here for Hicks. And a foul ball. Hey, hats off to the crowd. I mean, seriously, we were kind of kidding around about would the game be played? Is it too windy?
Yeah.
But these are some hardy souls. The temperature was about 45 lead for the 4-time defending national champions.
Time and see just how much growth this program has had, and I can't even imagine how proud those women are to see how far it's come since the time that they've played. It's just
nearly dropped one in for a base hit, but the speedy Hannah Core took it away. The very first Oklahoma softball game was played at Reeves Park.
Yeah.
And it was retold to us and stipulated that a day like this you would not have been able to play at Reeves Park. Would have been a little too dusty. As Haley Montemayor is in. There's the first Oklahoma softball team. It's Marita Hines, who was so front and center with Oklahoma softball. And that is Marita Hines Field dedication back in 1998. There's Patty Gasso in there. And I believe Jen Rocha was in that picture as well. But Marita Hines Field, though Love's Field is new, we're in the 2nd season of it, it's still utilized for some of the classics and the tournaments that are held here in Norman each year.
Yeah, I think it's really neat to get to see the growth, because you look over across the street from Marita Hines and you get to see Reeves Park where it started. Then you get to see the growth over at Marita Hines and get to be a part of that as well. It is still utilized. I think they get to have some high school games there and do different youth events there. There's a lot going on. But then you get to come over to Love's Field and kind of put it all together of the history of the program and see it all kind of come to life. It's really unique and so special.
And Marita Hines was so instrumental in helping Patty Gasso build this Sooner program and all of women's sports at the University of Oklahoma. Sherry Cole and the Oklahoma women's basketball program as well, which, by the way, Oklahoma women's basketball hosting NCAA tournament first round games just across the street at the Lloyd Noble Center coming up on Saturday. And I understand that there may be a guest appearance from Jenny Baranchek, their head coach, a little bit later on tonight. Haley Montemayor, the shorts. 5 up and 5 down for Isabella Smith. She threw a perfect game with 8 strikeouts in her very first start as a Sooner against Cal Baptist. Tatum Wright hammers this one past third base. This Oklahoma pitching staff, ERA of 1.99, and I think the thing that would make Jennifer Rocha so pleased would be they've only given 37 walks. That's the fewest in the SEC.
Yeah, 37 walks to 171 strikeouts. That is a good ratio. Isabella Smith is really working her drop. We'll see her rise kind of sprinkle in, but she throws mid-60s, and then she's also able to throw in her off speed, and it'll drop the miles per hour down to about 60, low 60s.
1-1 is fouled out of play. Talking about Jennifer Rocha, the associate head coach and pitching coach, and there she is. Former Sooner pitcher herself. What an incredible job. And Oklahoma has now been able to get these transfers come in, like Sam Landry, who wanted to pitch for Jennifer Rocha. as this one is skied by right. The wind is going to blow this one. I would say that one was in play when it left the bat. It was on the infield, and it wound up in Noble, I think.
Man. I just saw Gabby Garcia over at shortstop just hauling all the way to the dugout. I mean, that was looking like it was right at her, and then, man, right out of play. This wind.
And Love's Field is kind of set down in the earth a little bit, but still, once that ball gets above. 4 strikeouts. Smith setting them down in order in the first 2 innings. 2 home runs and 8 runs batted in last weekend in the Lions' sweep of Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Brittany Miller, we were asking her, and she said they sent 9 batters to the plate in the first inning and were able to claw out 3 runs. Did leave the bases loaded, so it's back to the top of the order for Abigail Dayton, who flied to the center fielder Rodriguez her first time. Decides not to bunt. 2-0 the count on Dayton. Abigail Dayton out of Riverside, California. Takes a strike there. Patty Gasso was talking about the leadoff spot and using multiple players. Destiny, we kind of visited that, but she said that Abigail Dayton. So that'll get Cassidy Pickering to the plate. Pickering a double and a run in the 3-run Sooner first. Bats with the bases clear and 2 gone. Just a really mature hitter, isn't Cassidy Pickering, Destiny?
Yes, I have loved watching her hit, and it's so crazy to me that she's a sophomore because I feel like she was part of that group that just graduated. She has stood out since her freshman season, and I think just watching her continue to develop is great, but to know that she still has 2 more years is almost scary. I mean, she's a phenomenal athlete and a great hitter. Her pitch selection is great. She's so strong.
She was the National Player of the Week on March the 4th. She homered 4 times in 4 games and drove in 12 runs in that span. Was on the all-tournament most in the country for Oklahoma. So they've scored now 231 runs on the year, and 73 of those were by batters who either were hit by pitch or walked. So you're looking at about a third of their runs that have scored have come via the initial walk or hit by pitch.
Yeah, and I think that's really important for the opponents. When you're playing Oklahoma, you can't afford to give up the free passes. I think they do a really good job of taking advantage of that. So you've got to do your best to make them hit ground balls, make them hit pop flies, make them chase your rise ball, make them do different things because you cannot afford to put base runners on with an offense like Oklahoma.
Garcia singled and scored her first time up tonight, drove in the first Sooner run.
Garcia is just seeing the ball so well, seeing that pitch down and in just a little bit and creating space for her hands to send that barrel through the zone. It's a really great piece of hitting by Gabby Garcia. She's been fun.
That is a good way to put it. 13-game hitting streak for Gabby Garcia. 2 hits tonight already. And here is Sydney Barker. Barker, an RBI base hit. Her first time up tonight. Batting it. Third stolen base this year for Garcia. Three and 0 the count. First base is open. Second.
Now batting the second baseman,
2 walks and a hit here in the second. And Ailana Agbayani will bat for the second time. She bunted home a run back in the first. That was the 3rd Sooner tally of the night. That one kind of rolls up to the plate.
Nagbayani's a triple threat. She's able to bunt just like she executed her last at bat, that squeeze play, and she's able to really work the dirt as a slapper, but she can also stand in and send some balls through the gap.
2-0. Agbayani takes that one upstairs. So a walk means a 4th. Started this 2-out rally with a walk, scores for the 2nd time tonight. Garcia moves to 3rd. Barker on down the line to 2nd, and we've got an early pitching change for the Lions here. Emma Olson's night goes an inning and 2/3 to the bullpen. Go the Lions. We will tell you about the new pitcher when we return. Victoria Masters is the new right-hander, and what a tough situation. Bases loaded, a run already home, and she faces Tia Malloy. Tia walked her first time tonight. And quickly 2-0 to the Sooner designated player. Ninth appearance for Masters. 7 total innings prior to tonight. And there's a strike. Gasso was talking about second base and says that she believes that it might be the most important position in softball defensively.
Yeah, it requires a lot of communication.
Aaliyah Wilcox, freshman from Covington, Georgia.
The wind caught a hold of it.
So here is the 9th batter of the inning, Kosek. The right fielder. Lefty matchup. KK Kosek is out of Hellendale, California. Kosek takes that one for a strike. 3rd season. Brittany Miller, the head coach at East Texas A&M, already with a conference sweep. And you know, another big part of this is East Texas A&M is transitioning to NCAA Division I. It was supposed to be a 4-year process. But Masters has retired both batters that she has faced since replacing Emma Olson in the 2nd. Hannah Kaur will bat for the 2nd time tonight. Hannah Kaur has been on 3 national title teams at Oklahoma. Missed a little bit of time this year with injury in February. Yorba Linda, California. Seventh start of the year for Kaur.
She's been fun to watch. I think she's a really good outfielder. Got a lot of speed.
Back to the top of the order for Abigail Dayton. Abigail Dayton flied out to center in the first and then hit a frozen rope to center in the second for an out. She sent the center fielder Rodriguez all the way back to the fence. Here's Abigail Dayton, one of the newcomers, the Utah transfer. So one of the 5 transfers, and then you've got the 9 freshmen. So 14 total newcomers on the roster.
And they've all done such a great job.
Taken ownership of things as a team, she said. So a 5-0 start for the Sooners. 5 runs on 6 hits. And this has occurred with 2 outs. Here's Pickering, who's been on base twice. Doubled home run and then scored in the first, and then she walked and scored in the second. Up and in to Pickering, and 2-0. "28 runs driven." And we'll have a little conference out in the circle between Wilcox and Victoria Masters. This East Texas A&M team, Brittany Miller said, this is kind of like a second home for them. They've played a bunch at Loves Field. They played Kansas City and also Kansas earlier this season here at Loves Field, and the Sooners hosting that event, and played Oklahoma here last year. And the Sooners actually made a trip down to Commerce, Texas to play them this past fall. So they've gotten to know one another well. Gabby Garcia tonight is 2 for 2. Drove in a run in the first, and she scored in the first as well. Garcia, 7 home runs in her last 10 games, now a 13-game hitting streak. She drove in 9 runs last week. The SEC Co-Player of the Week, Gabby Garcia. "6-0 Oklahoma here in the third. An RBI double by McEnroe-Marinas, an RBI single by Garcia, who is 3 for 3 and has driven in a pair tonight. And here's Sydney Barker. She singled in the first and walked in the second.
Gabby Garcia is so timely with her hits. Talk about her home runs against Arkansas, just timely hitting. When runners are on, I mean, I'd want her in the box for sure.
Barker takes that one, pops out of Wilcox's glove, but Pickering stays put at third. Two and one now to Barker. Agbayani flies out to left for the final out, but the Sooners 4 strikeouts, then Kirsten Deal for a scoreless inning, and now Monticelli takes over. The Wisconsin transfer spent a season there, and this is her second year as a Sooner. Had a 1.09 ERA last year in 18 appearances. Patty Gasso was saying she's kind of had a newfound confidence here recently.
Yeah, I think she's done a really good job coming out of the pen. She hasn't started very many games, but I think she does a good job kind of building that confidence up throughout the game and then getting called on and really doing well in the circle. But getting to see her develop and being coached by Rocha is so good for her. I think we've really seen her develop over the year that she's been here.
Leadoff hitter Emma Rodriguez struck out her first time. That was against Isabella Smith. 12. As this one is hit foul and out of play. And Destiny, you were talking earlier this evening about when Oklahoma goes on the road, the attraction that they are.
Yeah. I love seeing the stands fill in different cities and different communities that they play in. I think it's so good for our sport, and you don't typically see that. And I think what Coach Gasso has created here at Love's Field and selling this place out with 4,000 seats weekend after weekend, and then getting to see that when they're on the road, those places sell out too. I think it's really good for our sport and just amazing to see the growth.
See the upcoming schedule for Patty Gasso and the Sooners. Midweek action up in Wichita next week after the trip things up out there. That's Riley Zakay, who is playing in right field, taking care of that one. Also got, you see, Chaney Helton, who's patrolling center field, and out in left is Maya Bland, women's national team this past year. Paige Lowry was a transfer in on national championship teams, but the attraction of pitching at Oklahoma and for Jennifer Rocha is all around the sport of collegiate softball. And Peyton Monticelli, another of those who transferred in from Wisconsin. Charlie Anger, the batter, struck out her first time.
I think Coach Rocha does a really good job with her pitchers and understanding their strengths and weaknesses, and then how to enhance their strengths and work on their weaknesses. She's a very patient coach. I've seen her kind of in action, and just the way that she speaks to them and gets them to understand where their strengths are, what it should and could look like, what they have potential to do and be.
Peyton Monticelli trying to finish things in the fourth. 3-1 now on Anger.
That rise ball up and in, that is a tough pitch to hit, but a lot of hitters.
Did you have a pitch that was just your kryptonite?
Oh my goodness, I could not for the life of me lay off of a rise ball.
That's why you're talking about that pitch right there.
Yeah.
You're having flashbacks.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Stephanie Tapia is in.
Monticelli, I mean, she's throwing about 67 miles an hour, so it's tough to lay off of it. And I will say, as a slapper, when you're running towards it, doesn't make it much easier.
And it's coming up and in at you. So Tapia popped up to center field. Hannah Core was out there at the time, her first time up. One and two the count now on Stephanie Tapia. Such valuable experience for some of the young faces out there. Riley Zakay and Chaney Helton getting a chance to play in the outfield. You remember your first time out there? A little bit nervous. You come to a team that's already good, just trying to find playing time. What was that like, the whole process?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all starts in the fall, really. And I think now with the championship series that they do in the fall, it kind of sets you up for that. You kind of feel out, you get the feelers out, and you understand where your competition is. And all of that starts so soon now. Back when I was playing, we didn't typically play against each other as much as they do now. We would play different teams, but I feel like the nerves get out of your system.
4 innings. You've got the big matchup involving SEC teams is Florida State and Alabama in Tuscaloosa. And then this weekend you'll have Auburn and Texas, LSU and Georgia. Of course, Oklahoma going to be taking on Missouri. But Alabama on the road in College Station. All matchups where both teams are ranked in the top 25. In fact, That'll be the case for 3 of the 5 SEC series this weekend. Here's Corey Hicks.
It's a tough conference.
It's the depth of the conference.
I mean, some of these stats are crazy. Stolen bases, Alabama's leading at 76 on the season. That's a lot of stolen bases.
Corey Hicks walked in the first and grounded to shortstop in the third. Patty Gasso is talking about the depth of this conference being different from the Big 12. You see rankings 12. Big 12 has just 3. The prior conference for Oklahoma. So you already had the deepest conference in the country, and then you added the 2 teams ranked number 1 and 2, Oklahoma and Texas, to it.
Some good competition.
Maya Bland batting here in the number 9 spot, her first at bat of the night, batting for Hannah Core. Bases empty and 2 down in the 5th.
Still crazy to me that the Pac-12 is no longer a thing. All these conferences have different teams that we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, the Pac-12 was a big thing in your day.
Yeah. It was.
I didn't mean it that, I say in your day.
Years and years ago.
Yeah, sorry about that. A little low and away here to Maya Bland. Maya, the sophomore from Argyle, Texas. She was a part of Oklahoma's national championship last year as a freshman. A lot of pinch running duties for her throughout the year.
Yeah, I think she's one of the ones that is working to really crack through the lineup and find.
7-0 start. And Patty Gasso is laughing about something over there. Did she used to laugh like that mid-game?
Depends. Depends on the score. No, she has fun out there.
Emi Mihi is 0 for 1, grounded out to Agbayani at second base, her first time up. And coming right after her, Peyton.